I get asked pretty often by my classmates, both current and old, why did you choose public policy? Why are you here at Harvard Kennedy and not anywhere else? What do you care about in policy? They're in their full right to ask that, but it's really all because of one specific thing. I used to work in mental health crisis care. Hi, I'm Sanguinisma. Welcome to my channel. I'm currently a public policy grad student at Harvard and a full-time Kanade enjoyer. Today, I'll talk to you a little bit about what informed my choice to step away from psychology and how you might consider your future and how education might help you realize that future. I had a clear goal when I was starting college. I was going to get in, get out, and then go and become a therapist, whatever that took. Whether it was a PhD or a master's, I was going to get there and I was going to help people on the way, and after doing that. What I didn't account for was the fact that humans are messy. They are kind, they are mean, and they care, sometimes. I had a wonderful group of people in college that cared about me and wanted me to do great things because they knew I could. And before I could say it for myself, they knew I wanted to do great things too. Before, I had been set on becoming just a therapist, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I didn't care for research or creating new knowledge or understanding the world better. That was until my worldview on psychology as a science was challenged. Psychology hasn't existed for very long as a formalized field of study, and it's still quite contentious today. In fact, it was only in 1879, yes, I know how far away that seems, that Wilhelm Wundt established the first academic department of psychology at Leipzig University. Behavioral psychology, which is largely what I studied, has existed for even less time than that. Anyways, it was because of people I met and came to know and love that I decided I was going to take a break from trying so hard at school and work with people meaningfully. I was pressing so hard that I had lost the full picture of the wonders of psychology. To be quite honest, being cooped up in the ivory tower, no matter how beautiful your school, is always going to get to you, sooner or later. So, after I graduated with a degree in psychology, I took the advice of many of my professors and my advisor, and took a break from being in school all the time to work at a community mental health facility. That's what I'll talk the most about today. My friends and I came to call the place where I worked for a year as a behavioral health technician the quote-unquote loony bin. I understand and acknowledge the implications and history of this term, but at the same time, I'm not at liberty to disclose where I actually worked. And also, I think I probably would have been sent seaside in another lifetime for being schizophrenic, so I think it's within my right to use that term. I mean it as a derogatory description of the facility itself rather than the people within. When I first began working there, I was excited to learn about anything and everything. I think there were some weeks in my first few months there where I might have been there 7 days a week, and other weeks where I was there for 12 hours a day, a few days in a row. I loved learning how to do documentation, register and pass medications, and doing new things with the clients. I was also nervous to get to know the clients better because I wasn't sure how much I could or should share with them. I didn't like my boss a whole lot, but I really loved everyone with my whole heart, ignorant boss included. I wanted everyone to have the best outcome, even if they weren't the kindest. I cared for them a lot, and I think I still do, even if they aren't my clients anymore. It was after I really got into the swing of things, a few months into this job, where there was a switch in management. The new boss I had was ignorant of everyone's real needs and forced an agenda that none of us could wholeheartedly support. From ignoring staff who had been threatened by clients to ignoring clients or brushing over their issues when those clients had reported histories of recently harming themselves or others, the day-to-day staff found their hands tied more than ever with wanting to do the best and the most for clients to struggling to make it happen when everything right was suddenly wrong, and nothing wrong was ever really wrong. There was no consistency, and my frustration with this situation sparked a greater change in me. When I had first started the job, I worked overnight shifts, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 4 days a week, sometimes 5, sometimes 4 days overnight, and then another shift somewhere in the day. During that schedule, though, I had a lot of free time, a lot of time that I spent thinking about what could be done better. Sure, there were a lot of things on the client side, like making sure there were more staff or making resources clear and evident to the staff and clients. But a lot of the problems came around to things that were ultimately out of mine and even the control of the company that I worked for. The more I thought about these things, the more I realized I had to be the one to do something about them. I've talked about this periodically in my videos, but I struggle with some form of psychotic mood disorder. I have hallucinations and periodically realize I cannot recall for the life of me what has happened throughout specific periods of time. In conversation, I call it schizophrenia, because the healthcare system has made it harder for me to get diagnosed than for me to teach myself everything I need to know to describe, in clinical terminology, what is happening to me. During some time, while I had the new management at the loony bin, I realized the situation was incredibly stressful, partially due to everyone else talking about it and partially due to me experiencing hallucinations. I saw things like having my face slip off and exposing blood and tissue whenever I looked at myself in the mirror, or waking up and feeling like I had rotted and was a walking corpse rather than a whole complete human being with all of my organs inside my skin bag like they were supposed to be. Oddly enough, this was also one of the most productive periods of time I had during that gap year where I worked at the loony bin. I started going to therapy, although I still did not pursue a diagnosis, and was awaiting eagerly the results of my applications to graduate schools, even though I could not remember at all what I had written. I worked a lot, thought a lot, and probably contemplated even more than I did either of those things. There's not much time to do much else when you feel as though you're dying actively. Most importantly, I was settling on why I should make the change to public policy and why I should give up psychology. Psychology was great at handling things if you already had the privilege of being alive and doing all the things that living people do, like having a job, affording food, having a roof over your head, and being obsessed with Yoisaki Kanade from hit game Project Sekai. Psychology was not so great at addressing how to solve food insecurity, shitty communities that didn't let people hold down jobs, and shitty communities that just trafficked drugs instead of being able to meaningfully develop themselves into places where people would want to raise kids, go to school, and live, generally. Urban planning and public policy were great at those things, though. Around this time, a few specific clients come to mind when I think about what really motivated me. From a client that repeatedly returned to our facility because substances had basically fried their brain beyond repair, to a client who really held on with everything they had because they had children they wanted to show up for. They all motivated me in different ways to carry on their stories and make sure their voices were not lost in making the big-scale decisions that really impacted people. I didn't want their suffering to be for nothing, and I didn't want anyone to suffer the way they had. I didn't want people to live lives where they were bound to a drug that would cost them their lives, and if they ever stopped taking it, they would be sickly and in bone-splitting pain. I didn't want people who genuinely wanted to get their lives together to think that they were on the right track only to leave the bubble of treatment and have the world run them into a corner again. The world was made for everyone, not just those with the privilege built in. I didn't want people to have these dreams of becoming nurses, carpenters, or anything else to become stuck because they happened to live in a society that did not love them as much as they tried to love it. Perhaps most importantly, I didn't want anyone to go through all the strife I did to get to where I am. Eventually, I decided that matters had to be taken into my own hands, even if it meant risking my job and security. In May, I made my decision to go to Harvard, and a month later, I blew the whistle. At the same time, I lacked confidence in my decision to go to Harvard and thought I was making a mistake. It may have honestly been a fear of change, as I was quite comfortable earning less than I was worth and living at home. Nevertheless, I did what I hope was the right thing and wrote up a complaint of many pages regarding ethical and safety violations against staff and clients alike and sent it to my management. When I was fired less than a week later, I became quite depressed, but I knew I had done the right thing. I added this particular experience to the list of my other experiences that I never wanted anyone to feel like they were not at liberty to speak on the safety of themselves and others. By the time you're seeing this video, I think I'll be a little past a quarter done with my degree here at Harvard. Time flies quickly, but so does opportunity. It's been the sweetest turn of events that I've had so many opportunities available to me, And when I keep thinking that I can always improve, I'm always challenged. And it's the greatest blessing to have a wonderful group of people that I can be challenged and supported by while I'm here. I'll be honest though, sometimes I struggle. I drag my feet a little thinking about the next class, even though it's what I screamed, kicked, and cried for. Occasionally I miss the easy routine of waking up, going to work, and coming home to play video games. But I know that at the end of the day, all the work that I put into learning more, improving myself, and hopefully growing this community I found here on YouTube will have been worth it. I'm still exploring opportunities in different fields because there's so many options here. But at the same time, I don't want to let go of designing, of making new things, and I hope that for all of you, no matter what you do, you'll never let go of the dream you had as a child, whether it was being an astronaut, drawing new beautiful things, or even buying that cottage and raising goats. Thank you for watching until now. As always, I'll see you next time, and if you'd like to keep up with my shenanigans, feel free to follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm on Twitter just a little bit more. And of course, let me know what you think in the comments. I love hearing your stories and about how you're doing.